about alcohol every now and then. I think that in our world today, in our churches today, alcohol is becoming more and more just a common thing. And I want to look at what we see about alcohol in the book of Isaiah. So I wanted to read all this chapter. The Bible says, "Till I come, give attendance to reading." And so I think it's important for us to read and get not just one verse, one little part of a verse, but get this whole chapter. See how God is speaking to Israel. So I'm going to read all of Isaiah chapter 5, and then we're going to look at what Isaiah and some of the Old Testament, some of the New have to say about alcohol. Isaiah chapter 5. "Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down, and I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. And I will command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry." So let's stop right there and just look at, he's comparing who to this vineyard? Who is the vineyard? Who is it? Israel, right? Look at verse 7. He said, "For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel." So the vineyard is the house of Israel, the nation of Israel. And the pleasant plant, these vines, they're the men of Judah. And he planted them, and he tended to them, and he made it everything they needed to succeed. And instead of bringing forth grapes, it brought forth wild grapes. So instead of bringing forth the fruit they were supposed to, Israel was bringing forth other fruit, bad fruit. Right? So that's the way he starts. But I just think it's interesting how God speaks in chapter 5 to Israel, compares them to a vineyard that he kept, that he put all this stuff into, and they didn't bring forth the fruit they were supposed to. So he's just going to let thorns grow up. He's just going to take down the walls, let people come in. And we'll see that here coming up. Verse 8. "Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts, of a truth many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of an omer shall yield an ephah. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine inflame them. And the harp, and the viol, and the tabret, and the pipe, and wine are in their feast, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory, and their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend into it. And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope, that say, Let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh, and come, that we may know it. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed, swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. Whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them, like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. And so he's saying, I'm going to send an enemy to you. They're going to come fast, and they're going to come with their bows bent, and their arrows sharp. And that enemy was Babylon. And they were judged for being this bad vineyard, for bringing forth all this terrible fruit when God had given them everything they needed to succeed. But let's look at one of the problems of these men of Judah. Look at verse 11. It says, woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that consume until night, till wine inflame them. So from morning to night, they're just excited to drink alcohol. Verse 12, and the harp, and the viol, and the tabret, and the pipe, and wine are in their feast, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Look at verse 22. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink. So this nation in general was pretty good at drinking alcohol. They were pretty good at partying, getting the music going, getting the wine going from morning till night. They were good at handling their alcohol. They were like men of strength, it says, that mingle strong drink. You know, some people believe it's kind of a badge of honor to be able to handle a lot of liquor. You know, to be able to have some hard liquor, and there's women's drink, there's men's drink. You know, we can handle our liquor, handle our alcohol. God says, woe unto them that are strong to mingle strong drink. I'm a man because I drink alcohol. Now, they were strong at drinking. They were strong at partying. They were strong in sin. Look at verse 18. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin, as it were, with a cart rope. They're like drawing sin to them. They're just bringing it in. They were good at sin and good at alcohol, but they were poor. They were weak in knowledge. Look at verse 13. Because they have no knowledge. They were weak in judgment. Look at verse 23. Which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. So these guys in Isaiah right here, they were good at alcohol, good at drinking, but they were poor in righteousness. They were poor in knowledge. Let's go to Isaiah 28. Isaiah 28. Isaiah 28, verse 1. We're in the first 8 verses here. Isaiah 28, verse 1. Woe to the crown. When it says, there's a lot of times he's saying, woe to these people. That means bad things are going to happen to you. Poor you, because this is not good for you, right? When it says woe. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim. That's another name for the northern kingdom of Israel, is Ephraim. Woe unto these drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet. And the glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley, shall be a fading flower, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory, and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up with wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. You can see here, especially in verses 7 and 8, that the alcohol, the wine, the strong drink causes them to err. The prophet and the priest, they err. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. They don't make right calls, right? They say things that are wrong. The Bible tells us, Jesus told us to judge righteous judgment. The Bible tells us to prove all things and do what? Hold fast that which is good. But we got to be, as Christians, we're judging constantly. We're judging righteous judgment. We're proving not just some things, but all things. Hold fast that which is good. The Bible says to be sober, to be vigilant, because our adversary, the devil, is a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So we're to be in our right mind at all times. We're to be vigilant. Really, an all-night vigil. You're staying awake all night, right? I mean, you're looking around. You're constantly aware of what's going on. Ephesians 5:15 says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." Now think about this word circumspectly. Circum sounds like circle. Sounds like circumference. You're looking around. The circumference is around the circle. So circum is looking is around. Spectly. What do some people call glasses? Spectacles. Right? So you're looking around constantly. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly." So you're walking. You can just imagine somebody looking around, walking all the time. And if you think that the devil is a roaring lion is going to devour you, you'd be walking with your eyes circumspect. Not as fools, but as wise. Right? So we need to be wise all the time. We need to be circumspect. We need to be sober, vigilant, proving all things, holding fast that which is good, judging righteous judgment. But wine is a mocker. Strong drink is raging. Whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Let's go to Proverbs. Finish up here, this short lesson. Proverbs 24. Proverbs 24. So in the book of Isaiah, God's saying, woe to those that get up early, that think they're strong because they can drink strong drink. The priests and the prophets, everybody's erring in judgment. They're good at partying, they're good at that, but they're not good at the things that matter. Proverbs 24. It's verse 29. It's actually 23. Proverbs 23, verse 29. So Proverbs 23, verse 29 says, "Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Who hath babbling? Who hath wounds without cause? Who hath redness of eyes?" Those aren't good things. Woe and sorrow, contentions, you're fighting with people, babbling, you're just saying silly things, wounds that you don't even know what happened, redness of eyes. Who has all these things? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. Look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. Look at verse 33. "Thine eyes shall behold strange women." Your eyes, if you're under the influence of alcohol, you're going to be looking at other women. Women that aren't your wife. Your eyes are going to be beholding strange women. "And thine heart shall utter perverse things." You're going to say things that are perverted. You're going to say things that are wrong. Why? Because you're given to wine. You're seeking wine. "Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again." And that's what makes a fool out of people. It does all these bad things, and they wake up the next morning. Well, where is it? I'm going to seek it again. Go after it again. So the Bible says here again that the effects of alcohol are not the effects that we as Christians want to have in our life. We're to judge righteous judgment. We're to prove all things. We're to be sober, to be vigilant, to walk circumspectly, to be wise, to not behold strange women, to let no corrupt communication proceed out of our mouth. And we know that all these things are things that alcohol prevents us from doing. Alcohol goes against every one of those things that we're told to do. Alcohol makes us do it worse or not at all. So what I'm saying here this morning is that we should look not upon the wine. Don't be deceived by wine. Don't think, oh, I can handle it. That's what God reproved the people of Israel for. They were mighty to drink wine. They could handle this and that. Right? But let's not be strong in wine, strong in mixed drink. But let's be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And let's not be mocked by alcohol. Not be mocked by alcohol.